Forspoken is one of the worst games to release in 2023. It was so bad it even killed the studio that created it, and we knew that they were planning to release DLC for this game down the line, but now that the title, images, and release date have been revealed, people have been roasting Square Enix, saying they shouldn't even bother putting out any more content for this garbage game. I have a few different things to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon or a supporter via YouTube memberships. So I wanted to start off with this article. Forspoken's upcoming DLC won't be enough to salvage its poor sales, and this is true. There is nothing that they could do at this point that could save this game. I, as a consumer, would not purchase this even if it was half price at $30. I would spend maybe $5 on this title. And unless you are getting the existing player base to return for the DLC, and I'm sure a lot of them won't after how bad the base game was, who are you even going to sell this new content to? It says Forspoken hasn't done well. Despite a $100 million budget, the game had lackluster sales and the developer was folded back into Square Enix instead of continuing to pursue its own projects. I've talked about both of these things in previous videos, but you would think when a game has a $100 million budget that it would have at least sold well because they had a lot of resources to put into this game, but unfortunately for the developers, that did not happen. They just created a really bad product, and it just goes to show that no matter how much money you throw at something, if the core of it is bad, the whole entire thing cannot even be salvaged. It's like Rings of Power, right? They have this Tolkien lore that they could work with. It was a very pretty show, but there were so many problems. The billion-dollar budget for, the first season just didn't end up paying off. It says the game was fighting against critical memes of its dialogue before it was even released, and on launch it had to fight reviews as well. Forspoken has been largely deemed mediocre at best with fun movement, combat, and exploration, but poor pacing, writing, and RPG elements. I honestly haven't even really heard this many things being praised about it. I have heard that the combat was good. That is like the only thing that I have heard that was okay about this game. It says it was one of the very few new IPs to come out in recent times, and it was boring. It is unfortunate because I would love for new IPs to constantly be releasing. I'm personally sick of reboots and remakes, and I want new original content. Unfortunately, there are just a lot of creatives that cannot create what we want. It says, though, in Forspoken, you play as Frey Holland, a young woman who gets transported to a world called Athia after finding a mysterious bangle. It kind of goes through the plot, and honestly, when this was announced like a year and a half ago, when it was just called Project Athia, I was pretty interested in it. I was planning on playing this. The first teasers that we got looked pretty good, but then as time went on and they released more gameplay footage, it really fell off the map for me. It also says, in Tanta We Trust the Story DLC is a prequel to the main game and takes place 25 years before the events of Forspoken. This to me is the worst thing that you could do. Okay, if nobody is interested in the base game, why would they be interested in hearing what comes before? The only thing that you could do at that point is create content for the few players that you have and make follow-up content to the base game. Expanding upon the story and, giving more backstory isn't really gonna work unless people are really, really interested in what they have already played. Of course, this DLC was planned way before launch, but at the same time, I just feel like they should have known that this game was going to, face some criticisms, especially based on the story and the dialogue choices and just their choice of protagonist. But now that this DLC has been announced, people have been absolutely roasting it online. This is a niche gamer tweet. Forspoken is getting prequel story DLC this spring, and all of the comments are just memeing on this game. And what do you expect players to do, right? Everybody hated this game. There are very few individuals I have seen on social media who have said that this is a good, fun experience. And if you like it, that is awesome. I really hope that you enjoy this DLC as well. But most people were left very underwhelmed by this title. People are saying things like, someone is sabotaging Squeenix from within. There's no other reason to put money on a failure like Forspoken. Now, I feel a little bit mixed about the DLC because I don't see a reason for them to put it out. Like, I don't see a way that this is going to sell, but at the same time, it's at least setting a good precedent where even if a game is a failure, a company like Square Enix isn't just completely abandoning the game and they are trying to put the rest of the content out for the existing player base. I don't want developers to completely abandon games that they deem as failures. But at the same time, if they were not already done this, like if this was not already done 3 or 4 months ago at launch, I just do not see a reason why they would have put more money into this. It says, looks lame and generic. Where are the glory days of cool fantasy characters? It is sad because this game aesthetically does look pretty good. It's just not a good game. I mean, the base game was such a smashing success, but hey, let's at least give them the benefit of the doubt that they improved the gameplay, story, and characters. That's a bold strategy. Let's see if it pays off for them, and of course, it won't. I mean, this isn't going to sell any more copies of the game. People are questioning, but why? Again, the only reason why I see them putting this out is because they already had the content at least like 80% done and they were like, ugh, let's just put a little bit more effort into it and finish it up. All of these responses just further the proof that this game was a complete and utter disaster, and it is just the laughing stock of the internet. There are some great memes that came out of Forspoken, but unfortunately, not a good game itself. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this and of course found it important and informative, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.